the new guys need to respect the OGs. They really need to respect them. Then the OGs, they need to be more honorable. You are not competing against these guys.
Facts. People ask me where I get all my energy from. From the stage to the studio and to my desk. I am the energy god. And you can be one too.
You're listening to Adeshokbe Live, the Afrobeats podcast.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, to a brand new edition of Adeshokbe Live, the official Afrobeats podcast, right here in the Afro Media Studios in London, where we break down the hottest topics in the culture, and I speak to special guests from around the world one-on-one to chop it up with me. As always, if you haven't clicked the subscription button, do that now. Get the numbers going up. We appreciate your subscriptions. The bigger we become, the better we'll be positioned to support our own people without having to wait for others to support us. As always, this is brought to you by the Energy God Energy Drink. Drink and be yourself. Stay energized. For us, by us. Visit energygod.com and place your order. We appreciate you. I'm joined in the studio by a great. When they say pioneers, this is what it means to be a pioneer. Someone who was at the forefront of doing something iconic. The whole culture we enjoy today, the Afrobeats movement that we're celebrating today, these were the people in the trenches that created what ultimately gave us a voice, a sound, pride, joy, and celebration. Please give it up for the iconic, legendary producer, ID Cabasa! What?
Thank you for
my
having
brother. Come on. Listen, man. Thank you so much for taking the time out to come all the way here to chop it up with me. We've been trying to make this happen for a while.
Over a year now. I think it's over a year now.
Exactly. Over a year.
Trying to do
and
this.
that just shows the importance of you and people like you.
Thank you.
The interest is always still there. First of all, how are you feeling? How are you?
So I'm feeling fine. London cold. I thought this is April. Everybody should be fine now. You will see sun, and at the same time, it's cold. A friend said, "There can be more."
Yeah, that's it. The lion's giving birth. That's it. Listen.
But I'm fine. I'm doing well, and I'm good.
Bro, in the introduction says it all. You were at the forefront. One of the people that gave us a sound, got us excited. You artists like Nice, Olamide Bado, Reminisce, producers like Fields, the list go. Back then when we heard the term coded tunes, the record label that became a home for these incredible names.
Nice,
Give me the genesis as a summary, how that record label came to be.
Okay, so the record label did not start as Coded Tunes, and it didn't start as a record label. It started more like a clique. So I finished from the university. Before I went for service, even while I was in the university, I met up, I'm sure you will know Too Fat.
Yes.
My very good friend, Too Fat, Ajasa, myself, and Sparko. Were doing music. What brought all of us together was the fact that music was expensive to do then, and it was really hard. Not unlike now that guys will
Anybody can record
you
in
have
their
your
bedroom.
laptop and you record and it is fine. So I was gifted with making beats, and not just making beats. I sabi music, and they know how to rap. They know this thing that we were calling Afro hip hop then. It was not even Afro hip hop then. People were still calling us hip hop before it became Afro hip hop and all of those things. And I was also trying to play with sound. I knew there was something very authentic about African sound that I wanted to play with. Ajasa came with speaking Yoruba, rapping in Yoruba. Too Fat used to rap in English and Yoruba. Then at some point, we started loving what Ajasa was doing. We knew we needed to create an essence. So technically, amongst the four of us, we decided, okay, let's do more of the Yoruba
The
kind
Yoruba
of thing.
lyrics.
So it started from Smiling Air Soldier, which Too Fat was the head, and which I joined. Then Too Fat had a studio in his house, which we were using. Later, I had the studio at home. By the way,
Wow. How
people
did
should
you
know
get
Too Fat was the one that taught me
how to produce?
not how to produce, but how to use the first computer that I used, an Atari.
Atari computer.
The fun about Atari is you will need to start it up using a floppy disk. Many of the Gen Z guys don't
they'll
know
never
what.
know what a floppy disk is.
You have the double density, then the HD, which is high density. You have to put, while putting it on, you can go have your bath and come back and it's still
Once it's still loading.
you can't store audio on it. All we do with it was to just create beats using normal MIDI from keyboard and all of that. Too Fat was responsible to teach me how to actually operate that. So we started that way. Later, I got a system. I started a studio in my own room. Wow. One room. My room, my vocal booth was my phone. Then we had one mic. So we started having guys flocking from...
Your own room,
Yeah.
that's a family house, right?
Yes, now that was my father's house.
And what were they saying?
So, in fact, my journey sincerely is very fun because fortunately, I was a whiz kid when you talk about education. I have a degree in economics, in fact, a master degree in economics, which I worked a bit in the bank. My parents were expecting me to still do the banking thing. And when they noticed that I converted my room to a studio, the luck I had was I was also studying for my second master's in Unilag then. So they were still looking at it as it's just a passion.
Having fun.
It's just playing. My fan, they play. But they didn't know that even before I started that studio, it has always been at the back of my mind that, look, I'm going to do this thing. At some point, I might still be a banker, but at some point, I might need to do this music thing because I felt that I had sound, that I believe that if people hear what was going on in my mind and all of those things, that it will fly. So when we started having guests, we started having the likes of Reminisce, Nice and co. come in, we decided to make the clique bigger. I was probably because I was the only producer amongst them. So I became the head of the clique. Too Fat was the major guy behind who was coordinating everybody. I create all the music for us. Wow. Then the purpose actually grew more, or should I say the essence grew more, because I knew I could create music that anybody was creating. And I actually have good ear for music. And I also know I had to learn online, doing some courses about sound engineering and all of that. And I knew that we could actually do magic. And I was hell-bent in creating, you know what they call that guerrilla tactics, where the industry is facing here.
Everybody's
Let's face
going
it.
somewhere
Let's
else.
just face them.
Let's do our own
and we'll
thing.
just surprise them the way we come from behind. And we were doing that. Nice came in.
How did you
For
see
Nice, so Nice came through a guy they call -2. -2 was on Say Muni.
Oh, same.
Was it same? Yeah, that guy that was singing, that guy that was singing the hook.
Yeah.
It was the one that I knew from church, that they introduced to me from church that he sings, and he brought Nice and one other guy, Snow, to the studio that they wanted to record a song. When they came, -2 and Snow were the real singers. Nice was just a writer, but there was something about Nice, which I think was the same thing that I think I saw in Olamide and some of these other guys. There was a uniqueness with Nice in terms of his depth when he writes. Then there was also a personality behind the man, which I actually fell in love with. We recorded their song, which I think they released it, but it didn't really fly. So Nice decided to want to learn how to produce music. So I said, come join me here. He was coming from home at some point. We went to visit his house. He was sick. We got to the house. If you go back to Nice's song where he sang about anytime the rain is falling, me and my mommy, that was true life story.
Wow.
I remember when we were recording the song, Nice actually cried because that was true life story. He was living in a one-bedroom apartment with like 3 of his siblings with their mom inside the room, where you will have to pass, you know, all those ghetto houses now. As in, I got to the place, I noticed I was sick. In fact, I was groaning inside of me. I said, guy, not that we have so much money in my house, but let's go. Come and stay with me. And that was Nice, how Nice became
Wow.
You understand? So he came, it was, I actually had to sign up with the parent that they shouldn't worry, that will take care of him and all of that. And God bless, so many guys came, and we had other friends, we had Two Shots, we had Rugged Man come by the studio, and we were, all of us around that Yaba, everybody was coming because I was, this is not me bragging, I was creating sound that was different from what every other person was doing.
Facts.
So, and I was also being helped definitely by some of the people that I surrounded myself with, the like of Nice, Too Fats, and Ajasa, and all of them. So, from there, we were running it as a clique. After we did Ajasa, we get many rapper and all of that. Face came, we did all the Popo the Panko. Then Face came, and we were doing all of those things. People started hearing about ID Cabasa.
Yep.
They wanted to meet with me. Everybody wanted me to work on their stuff. But my nature is, I also had, I had a, which was what I was saying on Twitter earlier today, that look, my game was not to be your number one or number two. My game is a long game. My catalog is not in the songs. In fact, my stuff is not about the catalog of songs, but I was more concerned about the catalog of people, which the likes of,
the list long.
Yeah. So the idea for us then was, okay, this movement, how can we expand it? Once you survive, can you now build up something? Two, okay, nice, you have blown now. Can you create a record label? Ajasa, you have blown. So Ajasa started OTR Records. Nice started Alapomeji. Then Jabless and some other dudes started Edge Records that signed Reminisce earlier.
Edge
I had the likes of Olamide to join, by the way.
Where did you see Olamide?
Olamide's story is fun. And I think Olamide was just divine. Sincerely, Olamide was just divine for me. And it's actually unfolding by the day. It's actually unfolding more right now. The way Ola came to me. Ola came with a friend who was going to feature him on a song. The guy was not good. So I was still being reluctant to work with the guy. Like, okay, Ajasa was the one that introduced the guy. I said, okay, I like the boy, but the music, the music was the issue. That was what I had issues with. So he brought Olamide to feature on a song. Olamide was like 13, thereabouts. He was quiet, he was unassuming, and in my head, I'm like, okay, he said it's from Bariga. Then I gave him the beat, and Ola did the 16 bars. I won't lie to you, that 16 bars was what changed everything. And I'm like,
one moment, one shot.
Yes, I said, how old did you say you are? He said, not just become one of us. Ola became more like a son to me, because Ola became more like the one I can look at and tell that Shorin Koton Shele. And I wish they could do a documentary on Olamide.
They probably,
probably by the time people hear and see some of the things that he went through. There was a time that I was going to push Seriki. That, then Niza stayed on his own. Everybody, I was going to push Seriki. I was actually pushing Seriki. I had offers from a particular friend that was close, who also ran a record label in Nigeria. I'm sure you know the person. I will still keep his name for now. He's my very good friend. I remember going to him that, come, Korea things, we don't have money. Can you bring him money? I can assure you that I have guys that can take this industry by storm. And these are the guys. I had Olamide, I had Seriki, Jabless, Kaifi. Then I had one boy, B1. Then, what's his name? B-Rank. These are guys that are super talented. So I told him, I said, will you give us money? He said, no. In fact, at some point when I was presenting all of these guys, he was telling me that, I remember I mentioned Olamide.
Yeah.
There was
Keep on, yeah.
So I remember I mentioned Olamide to him, and he was not too down with the idea. He wanted Jabless and all. So I was like, okay. Because even then,
Olamide.
Yes, even then, if I was going to give him Olamide, the plan was we have to do a collaboration. This boy is not the type that I want to leave alone. Eventually, the record label folded up. But the guy is a very brilliant guy. One of the Tony Wakalo. Tony Wakalo is one of the very bright mind that I knew then, and he's my very good friend. Because even when we started Olamide's project, that Olamide
He was
started,
part of it. Was
yes,
still, yeah.
the first time we brought Ola to London,
He was
Tony
there.
was there.
Yeah.
In fact, Tony was the person. All I was doing as a record label boss was just to. I like that part of okay. I would rather outsource my weakness. I had this feeling that Tony, you know the business. I am a very creative. Yeah, I have the creative side. I can handle the creative side of these things. Just handle all of that. So Ola for me was beyond Ola, Nice, and all of these guys. They were beyond just artists, which is why till date.
That's what I wanted to say.
Yeah,
right
till
now,
date.
you still have a very strong relationship with
All of them, Ola, Nice. In fact, I doubt it's like a covenant between Nice and Nice, no blood though. That
family.
look, any album you make, I have to do a song on it. Nice is releasing an album, it will just call me, ID, I'm about to drop this album. Oh yeah, all I need to do is just to send a beat. Reminisce, we keep the same kind of, in fact, all of them, even those ones that have actually relocated out of Nigeria, we still keep a strong bond because beyond what we do, music, there was a stronger family bond. You understand? More like we had the same cause, we wanted to do well, we were coming from that most people would not look at as these guys can actually do well, and we were able to do so much more. So, Korea Tunes, technically, Korea Tunes, I'm the one that is bringing Korea Tunes back now with what I'm doing.
Now, you introduced us to all of this incredible talent.
Yeah.
Hit records, Nice. His reign is crazy. I was listening to
Did I mention Durella? Yeah.
Durella.
Durella.
You know, like these guys had incredible reigns, and you know, hit records. It was at a time when we didn't have an umbrella, and ultimately, an umbrella formed. You know, we had Afrobeats, so everybody came under that. And internationally,
being recognized
things was
and all of
happening.
that. Yeah.
For you being a producer back then and making all of these hits, and when the international exposure started to come in, did you start seeing the financial rewards?
Okay, so for me, one thing I've actually been doing ever since is to sometimes take a recess, reassess what is happening, learn, then evolve. When I did Totori, people were not expecting it.
But for me at that time, I felt that was a gift from Wisdom
Yes,
and Olamide to you.
People were not expecting that I was going to do any music again because
That's it.
most of the
Totori
people
did
from
one time.
So in my head, like some of us will say that we need to collect the pension that we've worked. That we've worked. And beyond even just doing the music and staying relevant with what is happening now to make the financial gains, which I'm also actually enjoying now. Yeah. In fact, the structure now is better, way better. It actually helps you to be more creative in terms of you don't have to really bother so much about the business, especially if you have a good team. You have a lawyer that his own wala is to handle your contract. I should be able to celebrate my ignorance of law. I didn't go to school to study
let the
law.
lawyer do the job.
Let the lawyer do that. I have managers that are doing stuff. The guys that are handling your, God rest his soul, Steve. Steve Spotlight.
My brother,
Steve managed me from 2011. Many people did not know.
No,
and we were doing stuff on the ground, and we were building, and beyond just building for what I'm doing now, which is I'm trying to do an album. We're also trying to build up more like these guys that are coming up. We are careful that a lot of them are going to lose the true essence of what we fought for. You know, when they say the labors of our heroes past should not be in vain. Which is actually, I pray it's not going to be.
Isn't that where we are now with Afrobeats, this conversation?
So I discovered that I think the heroes past were not actually carrying the guys that were coming up along. One, there was that part of it. Then I also felt that for every generation, they speak unique languages.
Their own language.
So I had to humble myself to know that, okay, for me to be able to connect to these guys, to let them see that, okay, this is where the essence of this thing is coming from, I had to learn the language. It's like the United Kingdom going to Africa to colonize them. They had to learn some of their language and teach them their own language and all of that. So that for me, the structure is sweet. What I'm creating now, like the photocopy I did with, what is it called?
With Vector.
With Vector, the Totori, then I have a lot of, people don't know that I actually still produce Olamide. Wow. Yes, I have records on Olamide's new catalog, and I still, Bella Shmuda, the song, 2020, was me. Wow. Lighter, the Breakout song was me. So some of the things that
So you're still cashing now, my brother. My brother. So you chop old money, now you're chopping new money.
That's the idea. Because so the truth is.
But what about the OGs that went quiet and are now bitter and coming out and fighting?
I've been talking about that, and sincerely, I'm going to play the devil's advocate, but not justifying what they've been doing. I've been complaining that, look, guys, you can't do this.
To go out, call people out.
So I think it's like, I was giving an example to someone that it's easy for us to say, like, I'm a Christian, I read the Bible, and people will look at Moses that toiled to take them from Egypt to a point where they're about to get to the promised land. And God told him that he can't enter the promised land. It's very easy for us to say, let another one take it and go. But the question you should ask is, how would that person feel? Oh, you know, there are many, many stories like that people would have walked, and by the time they are supposed to cross over, something just happened. And the unfortunate part is the people that eventually cross from all the work that probably the person had done, are now looking at the person as, you don't know how to do it and all that. But you are going to let go of all the, what is it called? The labels of our heroes past.
Is that not the paved way conversation?
So there is a place for that, which I think the new guys need to respect the OGs. They really need to respect them. Then the OGs, they need to be more honorable. You are not competing against these guys.
Facts.
If you see yourself as a competition to these guys, what you have done is you have mortgaged your honor.
Damn.
You have mortgaged your honor, because there's a place there's a place these guys are putting you that you are leaving to come, and it's like, there was this thing that I read that he that is in honor, that abides not, is a beast. If the lion is aware that is the king of the jungle, it won't be hunting. But because it doesn't know, because it's a beast, it doesn't understand that.
That's why
it's still. So that's what has been happening. And for some of the OGs too, I think there is this narrative, which is not a narrative of now, even when we were growing up, that the new guys are not doing good music, that we try. See, it is when you are losing relevance, when you stop to understand who you are, in the light of the new guys that are doing stuff, you start to shalaye. And you start to explain, and you become a Pharisee.
And you will explain tire,
you'll be
like
critical. You'll be too critical about these guys. Rather than being critical about them, what I have done over time that I think I'm enjoying is the fact that I don't always celebrate them. I also sit down to listen to them. Sincerely, music has become simpler, and I can tell you better. Because it is something that you don't understand, that it takes you a long time to explain. If you understand it, it becomes simple. So these guys are making it simpler. They are reducing, attention span has reduced.
Facts.
They are reducing, you understand, now. They are reducing the attention span. The vibe, what the Gen Z are saying is different from the
what?
way, like if I'm to produce, which is what I'm doing with the Reimagine album, that look, if I was to produce photocopy that I did that was like 4 minutes, then if I'm to produce it now, how many minutes am I going to do it? How are we going to keep it simple that people will understand? That is what I'm trying to say, that look, there was a language we spoke then that sold. That is experience. This is what has worked. So what is working now?
Go learn that.
You understand? Go learn it. And unfortunately, music is what most of them know. And the things you know are the hardest to learn. Even when the update comes, most times you will overlook the update and you still be feeling
You're
like
trying like the old
way
school is the
you
one that-
understand. The mission is still the same thing, but the method has changed. And a lot of them are not learning the method. So they feel like, no, these guys are not. And I can tell you this for free. What we need to do, and why I think Afrobeat is in a confused state now, is that most of the OGs, some of them actually need to stop making music. Especially if you know that you have gotten out of touch of making
The
music.
sound is
you
not-
might need to also evolve into become a custodian of the history in terms of, and a lot of us are also
Teaching.
doing that, teaching
Facts.
them, letting them know that, okay, this was what we fought
Facts.
for. Let's keep it. Some of those kids will be rude, yes, but not all. What you can do when you even see them getting rude is to call them to order. I have issues with you call them out, you shout that they are disrespecting. These guys are bolder than my generation.
Facts.
So when they speak out
make
of
more money,
audacity,
success,
you understand? When
yeah.
out of audacity, it is not every audacious person that you call arrogant. I'm sincere.
It can just be a personality
yes,
trait.
it can be a personality. It can be okay. This is how I express myself.
Facts.
And this generation, that is what has been happening. So as much there's a balance in between. Those guys, you need the experience of the old and the inspiration from the new and strength
Facts.
of the new to
Facts.
actually create. Because I said the game for me was not just to be a very successful producer. I wanted to create greatness, which was why the goal was, let's create people. If we can make that the goal, that for Afrobeats, let us see it, many identity crisis that is going on.
What are your thoughts about the identity crisis?
So, see,
how do people
I-
overcome this identity crisis where people don't know what kind of genre they're making? I make
Okay.
Afro R&B,
I
I make
say,
Afro
I
pop.
say, I was saying this earlier today that, look, it's not a problem. It's actually a gift.
Facts.
Sometimes from your doubt, you will find faith. In fact, you cannot have faith
Without
if you
doubt
You
first.
understand what I'm saying? So there is a doubt that they are questioning a lot of things. What I would rather advise is, I know you are questioning stuff, but when you are not too sure, don't be too quick to come out and make a doctrine out of it. Don't be too quick to come and say, this is
This
what.
is what it is.
So we are, okay, now there is the sound.
Yes.
People are not sure whether Afrobeat is a genre.
Yes.
People are not sure whether it's a culture. Some are not sure whether it's a language. So because anything that speaks pidgin now is Afrobeat. So you still get to hear R&B in our Afrobeat
Facts.
and all of those things. And funny enough, there's a good part to these things. If only we can just
be
calm
calm.
down and just R&B is not white. It's us.
It's African.
Rap music is us.
Facts.
We have Vijala, we have Ewi, we have all of
Ewi,
that. They
Ewi,
took
Prince
us as-
Hurlers.
they took us to their side,
Yes.
and those were the music. And I think some of them might need to get some education to actually learn what was happening at those slave ports and all of those
Facts.
things. So those things are coming back to you. You have to learn to be comfortable in your skin. That is your true authenticity. By the time you start looking to be
Something
a
else.
lizard in Nigeria, will not become an alligator in America.
Bah. Say that
You
again.
will need a lizard in Nigeria. If you are a black man, it's not except you become a star that bleached. So there is beauty to African music.
Facts.
It's rhythmic. It's let me use the word soulful.
Yes.
There is so much spirituality behind it that until you, and that is what these people want to buy.
And that's what they came looking for.
And if you don't take care,
And we start to do their own music, we lose what they came for.
I noticed that a lot of our guys are
It's Afro
trying
R&B
to.
now.
Personally, I don't even have a problem with them calling it anything they
Yeah,
want to call
yeah,
it.
yeah.
But
But the
what
sound.
I will say is, as you go higher, be careful be careful of yourself. Because you need to be careful of yourself, because you will be faced with so much doubt that you will start to ask that, am I even sure?
Get here?
You want to become, this is you that you have become this. and you are trying to become things that are trying to become you. Because now Afrobeat everywhere, people want.
That's the sound everybody's tapping into.
Everybody's tapping in. And in my head, I'm like, go back to those lamba. Go back to all of those things. Don't. Yes, you can still learn probably one or two things. In fact, I want the world to do Afrobeat because that's the only way I think Afrobeat will grow. If we allow them,
that's what I'm saying. I want a Chinese Afrobeat artist. I want.
Don't keep Afrobeat to your. Afrobeat is going to evolve to something bigger than that umbrella name. I guess that eventually people will find different expression because what have we even tapped into? You are just tapping into Fuji and probably little Juju, little highlife from Igbo. You have not tapped into in Nigeria alone, you have not tapped into the Benue State Swangi sound. You have not tapped into the Hausa sound. You understand? Sound. You have not tapped into some of them, and we are still scratching the surface. So it is good. All these conversations are good. So what do you know why they are good? They are good because they will create, should I say, they are going to create questions. Those questions, as we get to answer some of them, they will come with more questions. And as we start to answer those questions sincerely, we will become, I think we will not stop. I'm being careful. I don't like mentioning names. I've heard probably somebody will say I'm no longer an Afrobeat artist. And I agree with such people.
Yes.
Because some of them probably, they grew up wanting to be R&B artists.
Okay.
They grew up wanting to be some
and now
of those
they're
things.
in those positions they can
actually. So it's almost like the freedom to be.
Yeah.
So I would say, be what you want to be,
Facts.
but be careful not to soil where you are coming from. If what I'm going to say is going to soil where I'm coming from, I think I will learn how to choose my words. Careful. To say, so I started. I can coin it in my own way, but still identify with where I'm coming from, because at the end of the day, what is pushing everybody to that place is Afrobeat. I struggled with Afrobeats as a name.
At the beginning, of course.
When it started,
a lot of people from Nigeria kicked up against it.
That this is Afrobeat, that we know Afrobeat. Don't put all of us into Fela's Afrobeat. Then the explanation came with the yes, that is an umbrella name, is being accepted. If that
collective power.
Yes, now, so can we create a momentum together?
That's how we had the African category at the Grammys, the Afrobeats category at the Billboards, the doors that opened in the media. It's because of the collective power.
Yes, that momentum. We need that momentum to actually let this thing even be planted, let it grow before we start saying, okay, let's plant more, let's do this, let's do that. If that conversation can actually be there, sincerely, sound is sound. At the end of the day, nobody is creating no piano. It's still the same piano. So whatever name you call it, and trust me, there's nothing any one of them that is doing that is new.
I posted a picture of Fela with what's that painter John? What's his name? That popular black Basquiat.
Yeah, Basquiat. That Ashake used.
Then,
yeah.
This Paul McCartney and Fela chilling.
There is nothing
Sunny
new.
Ade. I posted a video of Chrissy SN Igbokwe
singing
in Seoul Korea in 1982.
Do you know the problem we have? I think which has
history.
happened. We don't document our history.
Absolutely.
Which was why they gave us religion and took our spirituality. And they are going to give us their music now and take hours. So the problem is
they're going to give us there and take away our own source.
They gave us education and took our knowledge. Let me explain that. They gave you education, what we want you to know. We want to create a colony here that all you will do is you will help us to go and dig up those resources and send it to us. But you will never know how to use those resources.
And you will never know what
that's
they
why
really mean.
That's why I won't teach you chemistry, I won't teach you biology in Yoruba. But I can give you a Bible and Quran and interpret it to Yoruba to keep you enslaved. But if we are smart enough, because our problem is with that concept of blessing. Blessing is not resources, it's resourcefulness. What you can do with resources. So they took resourcefulness from us.
And we had resources, but we didn't know
now
what
they
to
keep
do.
telling you you are blessed, you have resources. And those resources, they take it from you. do something with the resources, send it back to you. And that is what they are going to do with Afrobeats. If we are not careful, which is why I'm saying set up hubs, set up educational hubs and all of that. Let people know what this thing is really about. That this is us, this is black. Energy, black is energy. In fact, creation itself started from black.
Facts.
You understand what I'm saying? That you need to understand and be comfortable in your own skin. That you can walk up anywhere. I've been coming to this country for how many years now? If you ask me anytime, where are you from? I'm from Nigeria. I'm a black. I'm never scared to tell you that because that is who I am. I won't try to start forming one accent that is not. You understand? And all. So we need to be more comfortable. Sell out. What's most of this? Let me use the word. Who used that word? I think it was David that called them new cats. Meow, meow. The new cats needs to understand this. Nothing is really new under the sun.
Really?
Creativity itself is not new.
Facts.
Creativity is you creating something new from what is old. Is virtually your ability
based on
to
inspiration.
Hide, in fact, to hide where you are stealing from.
Really? There's
no new sound. The sound you are creating has been created before. In order not to become an anomaly, you need to be careful. Yoruba people will say,
that is the prodigal son that will use his left hand to describe his father's house.
Because you are lost already if you don't know where you are coming from.
Come on.
So they need to actually understand this, not only keep, and see, let's be proud of where we are coming from. I know that, yes, there are a lot of reasons. Probably people have hurt you, which is the same thing I'm saying about the OGs.
Yeah.
There are too many unresolved conflicts. And let's be sincere with
ourselves.
Wounds. And some of them expose this ignorance. There are some of these cases that should not come out. You did not sign contracts when you started. Things became better. Now that there are structures, you are coming out to call out your friend. And unfortunately, social media only listens to one side of the story. They would have cancelled the person before anything happened. You know, all the stuff that happened with someone, I don't want to mention names. And in my head, I'm like, why is this happening now? You guys are supposed to be in a place where you are advising these guys on what to do. You guys were nice performed for Nelson Mandela. This was 2008. You understand? And recently somebody said Bonner was the first to use live band, and in my head I'm like, even before the era of DJs, we were playing for live bands.
Two-Face, Boys, everybody was
2011, I brought Olamide, November precisely. Yes. We went for Two-Face concerts at one of the old halls that we did. And in my head, I'm like, look, it's not really new. But you can't blame these guys.
I said it. I called DJ Jimmy Jatt, and I said to him, I personally started to think to myself that one of the reasons why we're in the predicament we're in is because a lot of the OGs, a lot of us that have been there for 20-something years or whatever, have refused to share.
We were too concerned with ourselves. I've explained this over time that, look, success is not a goal, which unfortunately was what most of the OGs were pursuing. It's supposed to be an experience along the journey of being great. And being great is not you just being successful. It's about you being able to create avenues where other people
impact others.
A lot of them. So when I hear stuff like, when I was fighting for the industry, in my head, I'm like, keep quiet. You were fighting for your pockets. You understand? Look, because for some of you, I know some of your stories that people were begging you for collabos and
you were not available.
There were stuff. I don't even want to blame you. Probably that was a period where you were ignorant and all of that. But now you have a second chance to actually make things better. That look, okay, I messed up too. All of these people I'm calling out, they are not perfect. I'm not perfect myself. So what else can I do? Create stuff. Talk to these young guys. Let's see how we can make the industry grow together. it is appalling when I see the OGs call out these young guys, saying that they stole their songs. They are not stealing. Even you, I know, I can tell you where you stole the sound from. Creativity is about, sincerely, ask any music producer, they will tell you that it's about stealing. Yes. But it's the idea behind creativity is my ability to hide where I'm stealing from. I can explain some of Nice's old songs and I will tell you the songs that actually inspired me. But you will never find the trace except I tell you.
Techno said, Rara, he created it from listening to Oju Elegba.
What are you saying?
Can you imagine?
Photocopy. Go easy. If you go and listen to I'm Walking Away, that was what I listened to. And we changed a lot of stuff that you understand all of those things. Now be like, oh, okay. Until I tell you, you won't get to know. So somebody will now say, you stole my sound. No, it is sound. You didn't create those sounds. You two met it. You used it.
And you used it
you
to
understand?
Your own advantage.
So in fact, it will be a thing of joy and money for you if these guys get to sample. Why do you think I'm doing what I'm doing? That I'm bringing some of the old.
What's the album called?
Unfinished Business. And do you know why I named it Unfinished Business? I believe that I have unfinished business
with this industry.
Then,
you want to come claim what the industry owes you? Yes. Pay me.
Then I also feel that no song can be exhausted.
Facts.
No song. D'banj, shout out to D'banj. D'banj just gave me the right to do one of those old
songs.
Yeah, as in that song. Even me that I'm creating it in my head, there was nostalgia. I was feeling nostalgic and all of that. And in my head, I'm like, I remember when this song came out and all of that. I could remember when I had da 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 da. I was just shouting.
How many records are on this album?
So it's going to be in volumes. The first one I'm dropping is 12. And I won't lie to you, I've recorded like 18 songs now. And I'm still recording more. I'm still going to take from Duncan Mighty. I'm going to take from people, songs that I didn't produce, I'm going to take them. I'm going to get some younger guys to come and just create the beat. The idea for me is, let's grow together. And for everybody that I'm sampling their stuff, I'm making sure that they also get
everybody
stuff.
benefits.
So that you are getting your, yes, now you are okay. It shouldn't be, don't touch my sound, though. Don't do this. No, it shouldn't be like that.
That's how you can even make money.
Afrobeats, the original Afrobeats would have died. If
Fela created different sounds, jazz.
And at some point, I noticed that a particular group were trying to keep it like, if you are not doing it this way.
Yes.
Anything you have control over might not grow. Sincerely, go and check it. Control will give you
natural evolution.
Control is like this. You can hold it in your hand. But if you want it to grow,
you have to open it your hand. World.
You understand? So that a whole lot of people will hold it and have it and create. So that is how I want these guys to say Afrobeats. And for some of them too, I think we should still open up to more collaboration within our ecosystems.
Facts.
All those looking for collaboration outside is good, is beautiful, is for expansion and all of that.
There's so many.
So there are a lot of young guys that I think I will encourage some of these guys that let them jump on your stuff. There are too many. Shokwe, you don't want to come to Nigeria talent on shows.
I also wanted to talk to you about somebody. Phils.
Yeah, Phils is my... he's my...
You saw him as a baby.
Yeah, he's my baby. He's actually my baby.
He
has become a man now.
How do you spot someone like that who has eventually morphed to a musician? But what did you see?
I wish Phils is actually here. It would have been more interesting. So Phils for me, Phils came through my Hunter.
Wow.
Dedication, yeah. Maya and myself, we met in South Africa with Shizzy. So I've known Shizzy even before anybody would say. I remember the first time Shizzy came back from South Africa, the first time after a long while studying there, I actually paid for his tickets. That guy come to Nigeria. Stuff is happening in Nigeria. Mahi brought Phils as a 16-year-old boy, tall, from Badagry. Let me yab him a bit.
Yes.
He was looking
scrawny.
You understand?
Out of it.
But people don't know Phils. Oh. You see Phils, Mr. Producer, you see Phils that is singing. But people don't know that boy is an all-round artistic human being.
Creative.
He does what is it called? Graphics. It was too, as in, I can tell you that Fuse can function in anything creative. He does lights. We attend church together. His dad is a pastor. He started attending church with me. We were playing together in church with the current YBNL producer, Eskies, who also happened to have been one of those boys that have been around me forever. Shegun has been with me now close to 15 years thereabout. There are a lot of them. Where is Tifo? So the goal is to grow people, like I said. So Fuse came in, and I noticed that he could play the piano. He could do so many things. He could play the drums. He was creating music already using his laptop at home. So when he came, I did my bit in terms of actually grooming him. I remember Olamide's first album. There was the first song was I'm Going In. That was Fuse on the chorus. Not just on the chorus. Fuse actually wrote it. Wow. That was the only part of it. That was the only part of the album that the hook was written by someone else aside from Olamide himself. And I remember when Ola was going to start YBNL, Ola also mentioned to me that he was going to, and I'm like, yes, this is actually, Fuse was the one that brought Young John to us earlier in the days. Fuse, he met Young John at my friend's place, BTOK, Dapo. Funny enough, I'm actually at Dapo's house as we speak. And it brought Fuse, in fact, should I say anybody that he works with gets to bring them that ID, this. And the relationship between the two of us till date. Fuse is, by the way, my A&R guy.
So is A&R in the album?
Yes, yes. Fuse, Olamide, then because they are the guys that understand the sound now.
When Olamide was leaving, when Nice was leaving, was there any negativity? Maybe when Nice was leaving, I think we heard in media then.
So Nice did not leave, and there was no fight. The fight that came between Nice and I, which was not really a fight, was Nice going awul on us. After I helped set up, yes, I went awul on us. It's just switched off. If Nice, in fact, the address that Alakomeji is my address. So I helped set up Alakomeji. Same thing too with Ajasa's label and all of them. Edge Record, the first studio they had, I had to help install. People should remember that even SARS also had history with us and all of that. So Ola's own, we sat down to discuss it, but it was painful to me. Do you know why? It was not pain of you should not leave. It was the pain of I love this person.
Like your son is leaving home.
Yes, now I cried. I said, Olamide, you should have waited though. He said, bros, I want to do some things, and I'm sure by your code we might not be able to do some of them. He dropped the lay for Illuminati. I was like, Ola, you should not be dropping stuff like this. Don't let people look at us and feel that we are. And I gave him my full blessings. Not that we had the fight, but I gave him my full blessing. Everybody that walks around me, Ola will call me, bros, I want to work with this person. Oh, yes, go ahead. But I actually wanted him around me. But I also knew then that, look, the goal was never to keep these guys. I think probably because of my emotional attachment to him. Not that I think that was what it was. I had a very strong emotional attachment to Olamide in particular. We used to call him G-Dog from way back. Ola was the, I would tell people that Ola actually learned more from me than virtually every other person.
And that's why the relationship is still the way it is.
Yeah, so I kept myself close. He left 2 months after, he came back. He said, bros, we need to make sure that this line of communication is still there. As I speak to you, Shokwe, I live in the same estate with Olamide.
Wow.
In the last 8 years, we live just few blocks away from ourselves. That is to tell you that
we're still close.
You understand? Even what I'm doing now, Ola is behind it all. I know he won't like this.
He never likes everybody. All the people that say what Olamide has done for them positively, everybody always has to first of all apologize.
Ola does not want me to say this, but Ola was actually the one that called my attention to, bros, let's visit all this your old catalog now. And the very first song I recorded, which I've not released, which is actually like an ace for me. Yeah. Ola was the one that recorded it. So I have that song in the album. So for me, Ola is much more than just your random artist. That's why anything Olamide, I'm on it.
A question I just like to ask before I ask you one final question is, with all these guys that you developed and you built and stuff, and all those times that Adi Cabasa was quiet in the industry, where the music had gone, everybody had become superstars, do they knock on the door and just come in and say, here's $10,000, here's $20K?
For the sake of this conversation,
No.
I won't give you figures, but
Yes.
all, especially, don't let me.
Olamide.
No, I won't. I
We
won't
know.
disclose stuff.
We
but
know.
all of them,
Used to come back
not used to, they still.
and make sure everything is good.
ID, we need to put this in order. Baba, call this particular lawyer. Let him put all of these things. We need to be making monies from this thing. All of them are my business advisor as I speak.
That's amazing.
So all of them from Nice. You remember Nice did an album that actually named after me. They had the Cabasa album that I did. I produced
That
most
was
of
like
the
that was like a comeback between both of you.
Yes, which I remember going to his house, that guy. Let's just do an album. These people are talking too much.
sound.
That these people are talking too much. Let's just do something. And
remember
I'm not
that.
looking for him to just come in. ID, I'm naming the album after you. And I'm like, Ogbeni. You understand? So for all of them, they still come back. My doors are opened. Not just that my doors are open. I think with Remi's, I was the one that did the music direction for Remi's concert last year. And I've also done music direction for Olik. And I still do a whole lot. That was why the likes of Lighter, the likes of even Fireboy, I've produced Fireboy. That Ola will try to make sure that
Everybody that comes through him
that
goes through
you can still see. So technically, they all still know me. They
DNA
still
is
get
strong.
Yeah, so it's still there.
So we need a documentary not only for Olamide and the rest, but also for ID Cabasa. Finally,
we'll do that.
when is the album coming out? When can people look forward to
So
this?
singles are coming out first.
Yep.
We've dropped the first one. I'm dropping the second one in 2 weeks' time.
Second one in 2 weeks' time. So most
yes.
likely, this
We're
podcast
looking
will
at-
be dropping around the time the second single
Yeah,
drops. So
yes.
what's on that second single? You can tell the world.
Okay, I'm sure you would have seen it by then.
Yeah.
Olufumi by Star Plus. And I have Joe Boy.
1,
I have Fireboy.
2.
I have Odumodu Black.
Big
and
Kala.
I have Budge. Then we also have the voices of the
Star Plus on it.
guys on it. And I produced the song by them.
That's amazing. So you don't have a date for the album yet?
No.
But the album's coming
Yeah, it's coming this year.
this year.
By
Reimagined.
third quarter, I'm sure we'll release it.
Listen, my brother, I'm happy that we've had this first conversation.
Yeah.
I am looking forward to more conversations. By the time you come back, I'm setting up another one where we're going to be speaking about specific topics. You are a fountain of knowledge. I understand
I'm
why.
not on those stage, by the way.
I'm a kitty, so that now we
Okay, yeah, that's a kitty.
But I understand why your relationships have continued
Yeah.
positively and not only impacting themselves but also impacting you.
Yeah.
Because of the energy around you. It's very rare that we see such energy from our generation. A lot of people have become bitter and angry and don't see the positivity and the benefits in the young people. You are completely different. Congratulations on your longevity,
Thank you.
your consistency,
Thank you.
and just the openness to continue driving this force.
Yeah.
And a lot more people are going to benefit from this conversation and a lot more conversations that you will continue to have with us. My brother, ID Cabasa, ladies and gentlemen. ID Cabasa!
Thank you, sir.
Listen, man, that's amazing, brother.
The Afrobeats Podcast.